Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Well, mighty Joe, I want to say I love your hat selection as usual. I mean, you rock it, man. You wear it like nobody else can.
Thank you very much.
You also notice my hat, Texas Tech basketball hat, and this is. I'm not sure anybody's going to care about this, though. I'm often surprised what people notice, but this is the first and only maybe time I've worn any Tech gear in these hundreds of videos that we've done, and it was on purpose because, first off, I am from newspapers, and I consider myself a journalist, us journalists, so I take it seriously. But look, I love Texas Tech. Been covering Texas Tech exclusively with you for 12 years. I know you've been longer. We both went to Texas Tech. You grew up in Lubbock. We want Texas Tech to succeed. We want them to win. So I'm not trying to act like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
But, coming from newspaper background, you never wear a team's gear that you cover and stuff like that. But a couple of reasons why. First off, all these teams we've covered, all these years, Mighty Joe, there's only been so many that I can honestly say deserve the fans and the people who cover, people who pay attention to them, the respect and admiration. And I got to say, I have nothing but respect and admiration for the 2024-2025 Texas Tech basketball team. And we're going to talk about the future moving forward because everything is light speed nowadays, and I get it, and that's what people want to hear. But just for a moment, I want to take a step back. And oh, by the way, speaking of respect and admiration, got this hat where? Red Raider Outfitter, who sponsors this video, this YouTube channel, sponsors the radio show I'm on. And, oh, by the way, I've been a fan going back to the 90s since Red Raider Outfitter before they sponsored any of our stuff. But I just want to point out they sponsored a lot of my traveling as well throughout March Madness. But going back to the team, Joe, great finish, second place in Big 12, run to the Elite Eight, came this close and really should have beaten the eventual national champion Florida, who they beat a team that you beat at third place in Houston, who's another great team. But what a terrific season. Resiliency, offensive excellence, great coaching. The guys were so unselfish, Mighty Joe. I think we should take at least a minute or two and say thank you. You have, for whatever it's worth, you have my respect and admiration for the way you played basketball and competed this year.
Yeah, just an absolutely outstanding season. Only the third time in school history that you made it to the Elite Eight, and a team that was really not projected to do anything on that level.
Right.
Finished ranked number 8 in the country, and probably should have been ranked a little bit higher than that, as far as I'm concerned. And yet they were a number 7 pick preseason in the Big 12. So
wow.
you go from 7th in the Big 12 to 8th in the country.
Yeah.
And Texas Tech has actually had a habit of, outperforming expectations.
Yeah.
Like that happened under Beard.
Yeah.
His second year when they took him to the national title game. It happened last year under McCaslin as well. This is the second time with him that they've done that.
Yep.
And so I guess people better start learning about Texas Tech basketball a little bit and giving these guys a little bit more respect because this is a serious program, and they're not going anywhere except for maybe up a little bit farther. You can't go a whole lot farther up than they are right now.
Yeah, and speaking of that, going to the future, Coach Grant McCaslin, the general manager Kellen Buffington, all those guys involved now are rebuilding the roster. That's a every year thing at this point. Transfer portal's open. Some big news: Darian Williams declaring for the NBA draft while retaining his college eligibility and is in the transfer portal. I expect him to end up playing college ball elsewhere, and I wrote a story saying that. A lot of things I've been hearing, especially down the stretch and in March Madness from people in and around the program, is that bottom line is that Darian Williams or his camp were looking to go elsewhere. Now, the reasons for that, I understand people asking why. I don't know the exact reasons. I've heard this and that, but I don't want to just throw that out there without being. Darian Williams didn't tell me that. Nobody in Darian Williams' camp told me that, so I don't want to speak for them. But it seems pretty clear that he's looking to move on. I do think Texas Tech wanted to bring him back, and why not? He's a great player, all Big 12 performer for you. But good news is JT Toppin, the Big 12 Player of the Year, and Christian Anderson, who was on the All Big 12 freshman team, one of the best young players in the country, both have announced that they are returning to Texas Tech, Joe. Just your reaction to all those three pieces of news.
Yeah, assuming Darian Williams is gone, and I'm not hearing anything contrary to that.
Yeah.
Everything seems to indicate that he's probably out the door. you're going to have a great team next year. It's looking like. I mean, I think that's pretty much a given. But I mean, don't underestimate the value of Darian Williams.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that dude. I mean, it's the easiest thing to say. Oh well, he's gone. We really don't need him. Maybe he wasn't that great or something like that. No. That dude was all Big 12 first team for a reason, and it's difficult to replace somebody like that. He was just a unique player.
Such a unique player.
And such a versatile player who could do so many different things. And most of the time, he was an excellent closer as well. I mean, he was a guy that could get you buckets and make plays late, and it happened again and again and again. He might be having a terrible game for the first...
Arkansas, look at this Sweet 16 game.
Sure. I mean, the first 35 minutes, he's doing nothing and stinking it up out there, and then, boom, he goes off and carries you the rest of the way. I mean, all right. You're going to miss Darian Williams, assuming he's gone. So go ahead and get that out of the way right now. But, I mean, two huge building blocks with J.T. Toppin and Christian Anderson. And we all know what they did last year. But the great thing to me is that those guys have still a higher ceiling. They can go. Now, Christian Anderson in particular, he's just, and McCaslin said this again and again last year. He's just barely scratching the surface of what he's capable of doing. So he was, as you said, one of the best freshmen in the entire country last year. I expect him to skyrocket next year and become a real star, quite possibly first team All Big 12 next year. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Toppin, returning Big 12 Player of the Year, and could still get better. I think what you're going to see from him next year is what you began to see a little bit late in the season. And that's where that outside shot, particularly at the top of the arc, began to go down a little bit more. And he got better and better at that, and that's going to be the area where you're going to see a huge improvement, I think, from him next year. He's not going to be just primarily an inside scorer, and he's great at that. He's as good as anybody in the country. He's going to be a guy who can take people outside as well, and that's just going to make him impossible to cover. Assuming he can hit that outside shot, the three-pointer at 35%, somewhere around there, he's going to be devastating. So those two guys coming back. Christian Anderson is a sort of a combo guard. Tech really needs right now a replacement for Elijah Hawkins. A true point guard. To me, that's the number one priority in the portal as of this moment. But Christian Anderson is a guy who certainly can play the point. I just don't think you want to dedicate him to that position full time. If he's a combo guard, you want to switch him in and out to various different positions. Extremely talented player.
Yeah, you have to replace Elijah. You have to replace Chance. You have to replace Kerwin Walton. You have Kevin Overton, Federico, which we don't know their stats yet, but they haven't entered the portal as far as I know. So those would be two really important pieces coming back. Mario Aquintuck, the 6'10" Canadian.
I was wondering how that was pronounced.
Yeah, well, that's my best shot at it. I'm sorry if I butchered it. I do that, unfortunately. But I did practice it a little bit, but I think that's a West Texas way of saying it anyways, or Texans. And so you have guys like that. You don't know about Emily Alaho, what his status is. He showed some promise, especially in that Houston game of all things, but then has been injured and hadn't played a whole lot. So Leon Horner, I don't know if Jazz Henderson figures into it or not, but those are the guys you have remaining on your roster. And then you just got a big addition from Tyree Bryan, who you wrote about here just earlier this week, Mighty Joe. But what's the scoop on him?
Yeah, the first thing that jumps out, obviously, he's really a tremendous outside shooter. When you lose Chance McMillan and Kerwin Walton, two just
great three-point shooters.
You want to recoup some of that lost productivity from out there beyond the three-point arc, and Bryan does that. He definitely, shot 43% from three-point range last year, which is right in the same neighborhood as McMillan and Walton. And he shoots it out there a lot. So that's the main thing that you're going to get from him. But he's got some versatility to his game. He can pin it. He looks a little bit like Kevin Overton, really, to be perfectly honest. When he gets into the paint, they're built almost exactly alike. He can get in there, and he's not going to score a whole lot in there, but he is capable of doing that. A big guard, 6'5", 210. You can always use a little bit more length and muscle. So that's going to give you a little of that out there on the perimeter as well. A really good offensive rebounder for a guard. Pulled down overall 4.4 rebounds per game last year. over 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio,
I like that.
which is good. I mean, that's actually like point guard number
Yeah.
for an off guard. Now he wasn't playing on the ball all that much, so the total assist numbers were not huge. That's a pretty small sample size, but still, it looks like he's not going to be any sort of a turnover machine. He'll take care of the basketball, which was something that Texas Tech did a great job of this last year, particularly towards the end of the year. They just weren't turning the ball over. Of course, Elijah Hawkins had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
But Brian is a guy who's capable of continuing to help you in that area as well. And he doesn't foul on defense, which is really, really important. You look at his foul numbers, and they're just almost not there. And he gets over a steal per game.
Yeah.
So he's doing something right on the defensive end, creating some plays without fouling. And that's always a huge thing. You don't want to sit the other guys to the foul line. It's easy money for them. Most of the time, it was for Florida. And that game is 25 out of 27 free throws.
Yes,
something
that's
like
right.
That.
No, that's right.
That was crusher. So that just points up the importance of playing defense without fouling. And he's a guy who's going to do that.
But what he sounds like to me is an efficient offensive player with some good size who could also play some defense.
Yes.
Sounds like Texas Tech basketball under Graham McCasland, right?
Exactly.
Like that's who he looks for. That's who he wants. So that signing makes sense. He has a committed and signed. You mentioned a floor general. Tech's got a couple more visitors coming in very soon. Isaiah Pasha is a dude from Delaware, 6'4" point guard. I think that could be. I think they see him as a possible replacement to Elijah Hawkins. He's supposed to visit, I think, in the next couple of days, maybe this weekend coming up, actually. So look out for that. By the next time we're doing one of these videos next week, we might be talking about some new additions, including a floor general and Isaiah Pasha. So, but man, for now, Monty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank y'all for watching, and until next time.